You are listening to the SAVAGEFINCAST, episode 27, A Banner Year.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
This is the SAVAGEFINCAST, the show that drops a boot off the top rope. I am Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olsen.
And that bastard Raven Perez.
He's back.
I'm back.
He's back.
Work permitting.
So, we're back again for another episode. It's been a while. I think we were last time we recorded was back in December when we interviewed Erik. Been a little bit slow with the new issue coming out, but hopefully that just means it's going to get ahead.
You know what this means? We're bringing the love in time for Valentine's Day.
That sounds like a good enough reason as any. So this episode, of course, we don't have an issue to talk about, and we don't have anyone famous to interview. So what we're going to do instead later on is we're going to talk about our favorite Savage Dragon moments of 2013.
Yes, and there's a good amount of them.
It's a sweet year.
Yeah, it was. A lot happened, and a lot is happening. There's a lot to talk about. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah. So, but before we get to that, we should get to the Erik Larsen news.
All right. Yeah, so we got some pretty good news. Chris Burnham is going to draw a backup story in Savage Dragon 200. Burnham is most known for his awesome artwork on Batman Incorporated, which Grant Morrison writes, the Joe Casey one-shot Officer Down, which was published through Image, and that was, a lot of Image fans' introduction to him. Of course, he's going to be illustrating a backup for Savage Dragon 200, which is awesome. He's a fantastic artist, and we don't have a lot of details on 200, so this is the first little trickle of info. But it was a video interview he did with Comic Book Resources, and he talks about, being a fan. He lets out a minor detail of the upcoming backup. It's definitely a must-watch because once they start talking around minute 17, it goes all the way to the end of the interview with Larsen and Savage Dragon stuff. So it's pretty cool. The backup seems like it's going to take place in Dimension X, possibly featuring Alternate Angel and Mr. Glum. It's going to be written by Erik Larsen. And you can find the link to the video at dragonfan.net.
Yeah, I'm pretty psyched about that. I love his art. I was a big fan of Officer Down. Didn't buy Batman Incorporated just because I just don't get into that. But I saw his art on all the covers and stuff like that, and it looks really cool. I think he also has like a new Image book coming out with Grant Morrison. Wasn't that in the kind? Wasn't that what that whole pretty much most of that Comic Book Resources article was about?
I think it was. I bought Batman Inc. and for him even more than Morrison at that point.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a Morrison fan, I wasn't really in love with what he was doing with Batman. But Burnham is kicking ass on Batman. So I mean, it's amazing what he does, and I can't wait to see this backup. It's going to be fantastic.
Batman Incorporated's over now, right?
Oh, is it?
I don't know.
I think it is over.
Decorporated. Didn't he have some kind of teaser on Twitter? A Twitter tease?
Yeah. Today, which actually we're recording on February 5th, he just released something. So if you go on his Chris Burnham Twitter page, look up February 5th date, and there's a real small kind of teaser image. It shows Glum World and some kind of looks like giant Dimension X mutant monster. It looks really cool actually. It's definitely got me pretty excited for this backup. So we'll see. We're talking about 200 is how many issues away now? 7 issues or?
I'm gonna say
about
fourth quarter.
Yeah. So it will come fast. It'll be pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's coming fast.
So excited.
So on the road to issue 200, Erik has released the cover to Savage Dragon 197. Yeah, he just posted it up on his Facebook. It's got the cover's got Malcolm Dragon, but he's got like his mouth is like huge vampire fangs. It's just
some
his head.
kind of fangs. Yeah, he looks kind of like gorilla-esque or something.
Yeah,
I don't know, just like mutant. Like
I definitely got a gorilla vibe from it, which I don't know how well that's gonna play.
I think we would be remiss, gentlemen, if we did not speculate.
Right. It's weird. On one hand, it's like, didn't we kind of go through this with Virus and Dragon just recent? I guess not recently, but
yeah.
I hope it's something totally different. But,
well, that was my first impression. Is it Virus? Are we getting more Virus stuff? But it doesn't really look like Virus because it doesn't have the tongue.
Right. It's just, but I mean, on the same whole, like the lead character mutated into some hideous monster type thing.
Right. Yeah.
May I hazard a guess?
Go ahead.
Hazard away.
2 words. Belco Chemicals.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Maybe his fangs are mutating.
He does live in the slums.
Right. Maybe Erik's gonna revisit that because that whole storyline was kind of. I think we talked about it in our last interview with Erik. It was just kind of wrapped up rather quickly. It seems like there should be still something lingering on with that.
So you never know. I mean, I could be totally wrong. It's fun to guess.
Right.
It's hard. I'm not really thrilled about this cover. I find it just the big focus on his head. It's not very interesting.
Do you think it would stand out on the stands, though?
I don't know. Honestly, I just found the composition to be kind of not my favorite cover of the year. I'm sure.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an attention getter, though. You see that and you're like, what the heck is that? Crazy, freakish monster face.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I mean, I'll agree with. I guess split the difference. I totally agree that there could be more going on as a cover, but I mean, when you're in this, in the shop and it's on the shelf, if you're that damn lucky, and no store carries extra copies of Savage Dragon, but if you're in the store and you see this thing on the shelf, you're gonna look at it. It's gonna stand out.
Right. Cool. So shall we jump into our trivia segment?
We should.
I believe I have a bit of tid.
A bit of what?
A tiny little tease.
What?
I have a bit of information that
go ahead.
I'm going to hint and allude at. Not really news, but this is just a little bit of a teaser. Nick Justice of Jesus E. Lee fame.
And episode 0 of the Savage FINcast.
Sworn one day to return and destroy us all. There's been some rumblings, some strange visual anomalies on his Facebook page. One might have seen something as ludicrous as Thor being attacked by Star. So,
that does sound pretty ludicrous.
My theory is that Star ate a bowl of stupid pills that morning. Thought he'd try his luck.
Are you thinking we might see a backup from said person?
I would say, if I was a gambling man, that the odds would be ever in his favor. The gambling man that likes the Hunger Games.
Sweet, we'll have to keep an eye out on that.
Well, let's just say that it's rare the artist that draws stuff just for fun.
Right.
Probably,
Yeah.
He's
we'll have
probably
to
not
look into that
stuff.
more.
We might see. Keep your eyes open. That's all I'm saying.
Cool.
You might see a collaboration between a number of Savage Dragon well-known creators. Just keep your eyes to the skies, listeners. We're done. That's over. Teaser over.
Cool. So let's get into trivia.
Trivia.
We skipped it last episode because we had the interview with Erik, and we wanted to get straight into the interview.
Priorities.
Priorities. So, well, the last time we gave out a question was episode 25. So episode's 25's question was, in which issue of Savage Dragon did Dragon discover the corpse of Terry Fitzgerald? For those who may not know, Terry was Al Simmons, a.k.a. Spawn's former best friend. So we got a good number of responses. I'm going to go through them all real quick. We had Joe Gillespie, who said, "Hey guys, first I just want to say how much I have been enjoying the podcast. It's been really helpful as I jump back into the series after some time off the book. You are all constantly filling in the blanks and answering some of the questions that I have from time to time. I think I knew this one right off the bat because it stuck out when I reread it not that long ago. In issue 78, Dragon stumbles across his corpse in a grocery or Woolworths type store. Hope I'm right. May not even be too late since I think the podcast went live only yesterday. Thanks for the show. It's good stuff." Well, thank you for listening, Joe.
We appreciate it.
And Joe, he got that right. Just to remind everybody, I think when we first started doing this trivia, we were kind of giving the prize to the first person to answer, and we've kind of switched that up, and now it's, we take everyone that gives us the right answer, we throw your name in a hat, and we pick out a name just so, we give everybody a chance, and I think it's a little more fair that way and encourages more people to write in.
So don't be afraid to write in. You always have the chance
Exactly.
to write in.
Right.
Exactly.
Next person to write in was John Panozzi. He said, the issue where Dragon finds the corpse of Terry Fitzgerald is Savage Dragon 78. Also, let us not forget that Terry Fitzgerald was named after a real-life friend of Todd McFarlane, who has basically been Todd's right-hand man at Todd McFarlane Productions since the beginning.
Cool
I didn't know
trivia.
that.
Yeah, I thought they had like a falling out or something at some point. I don't know.
Oh, those
Recently.
rock star comic stars.
Yeah, right. Next, there's a letter from Matt Kind. He says, Dragon found Terry Fitzgerald's body in Savage Dragon 78. Dragon comes across his body in a grocery store. He'd been crushed by a shelf. Dragon stole his pants, shoes, and some money. That he did.
You guys are blowing my mind, because I was sitting here thinking, wait a minute, what, 78, huh? That really paints, I remember that sequence now. That was Terry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Famous pants. I mean, I didn't know it.
Another letter from Will Poe. Dear Jim, Craig, and Raven, Dragon found the long-deceased Terry Fitzgerald in Savage Dragon 78. Not only did he find him, but he stole his pants, shoes, and a few bucks he had in his wallet. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I love the show, guys. I'm apparently the only guy in Baton Rouge who reads Savage Dragon. My local shop is the only one in the city and is nice enough that they order one single copy for me every month. With that being the case, I don't have anyone to rave about how much I love it afterwards. I look forward to the show every month to hear what other Dragon lovers think. What are the chances of Erik coming on again soon? I'd love to hear what he has to say about the upcoming issues now that Malcolm has taken over for good. Keep up the good work, fellas. Well, hopefully we pleased Will by having Erik on last episode. I know he probably wrote in before we published that episode, but there you have it. We aim to please.
Make your wishes come true.
It was as a listener, I got to be in the listener's seat for that one. Fantastic job, fellas.
It's it's just pure bliss when Erik comes on. It's just fun. There's no work involved. Just let Erik talk and just keep asking him questions, and he's such a gracious guest, and he humors us by answering everything we throw at him. And then lastly, Gavin Higginbotham wrote in. He wrote, over 2 months late, but I don't think you've read the answers out yet. Terry Fitzgerald's corpse was Savage Dragon 78, and Dragon stole his pants, wallets, and shoes. What an effing jerk. I didn't say that. He was saying that about me. Just to clarify, I wasn't calling Gavin an effing jerk. Gavin was calling Dragon an effing jerk. And, of course, Gavin's disqualified for being editor-in-chief.
Also, it lets you know that in an apocalyptic setting, you could expect to see pantsless Gavin amongst all the animals. Because he's not going to loot the dead.
No.
He's made that clear. Only effing jerks do that.
Right. So I put all the names out and picked a winner, and Joe Gillespie is the lucky winner of the trivia this month. He wins the G-Man Cape Crisis Trade Collection by Chris Giarrusso, which features Savage Dragon in those pages from, if you remember the Savage Dragon backup in 150 with G-Man, where Erik drew Savage Dragon and Chris G drew all the G-Man characters. That's collected in this trade. So, Joe, send us your contact information and we'll get your prize out to you. Thanks for listening.
That is a sweet, sweet prize. You're a lucky dog.
So let's talk about this episode's trivia question. So the question for this episode is, from 2005 through to 2008, and for a short stint in 2010, Erik Larsen wrote a weekly column for one of the larger comic book news websites. What was the name of the column?
Ooh.
Send your responses to SAVAGEFINCAST@gmail.com. We'll read your letters on the next episode, and one winner will be chosen from all the correct entries to get their choice of either the Erik Larsen variant edition of Jersey Gods number 5 or the complete 4-issue Star miniseries from 1995. Your choice. So if you don't have that Star miniseries, go for that. It's a good read.
Way to steer their choices.
So let's go to the meat of this episode and talk about our favorite Savage Dragon moments of 2013.
There sure were a lot of them.
A year that, if it happened in any other comic series, would be a banner year. A run that people would talk about forever and ever. A lot of stuff
happened this year.
Definitely.
I was actually skimming all the issues before the episode, and I realized that from the start of this year to the end of from the start of the year to the end of the year, it was like this one big long epic. Really.
Yeah, I mean, so we're talking about issues like 184 to 192.
Right.
And it's mostly, focused on Savage Dragon on trial and his kind of adventures in jail, and then kind of Malcolm and Angel coping in the outside world. And I got to say that Dragon in Jail is probably one of my all-time favorite, if you want to call it a story arc.
Yeah.
Story arc in the series so far. It was really exciting. It was like something that you just knew always had to be done at some point in this series, since Dragon was a cop, and what worse place to put him than a jail with a bunch of guys that he's thrown in there.
Exactly. And at the same time, I mean, even the supporting cast got like a lot of room to shine in this. And it's kind of this year's kind of the slow rise of Malcolm to the bold new direction. So
right. By incapacitating Dragon, it's given Malcolm the whole year to really solidify himself.
Right.
It is good. Go back and read that's a funny thing. Yeah, I did my homework for this episode too. And if you go back and just read these issues, it's really kind of impressive how many plates that it's spinning for a single year. I mean, a lot happens.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like kind of with issue 75 of Savage Dragon, where it's like Erik kind of racing to tie up all these loose ends to kind of get into the next kind of
phase.
Direction. Yeah, the next phase. And I think those kind of, when he's busy wrapping up all these kind of subplots and just getting everything cleaned up, it's like when the most exciting things happen in Savage Dragon. It's like the past 10 years of build-up of just finally getting resolved, or guys are getting killed off or whatever. Yeah, like you said, anything can happen, and anything does happen. I think if we went back like 2 years back and kind of like were able to look into the future and see all this stuff happening, we would be just amazed of all the stuff that went on. Like just stuff that was so off the radar 2 years ago that all of a sudden, we're right in the middle of.
Right.
So I think for me, just start off the 2013, I think it was January 2013, 184 came out, and 184, the inside credits was Gavin was credited as editor for the first time, which I thought was really cool because I've been kind of friends with Gavin for a long time, just from the boards and reading Savage Dragon and just kind of talking back and forth with him on the message board. So knowing him as the greatest Savage Dragon fan pretty much of all time, and seeing him get that credit and getting involved in the book like that, is pretty cool. It was good for him.
Plus, it was always kind of unofficial anyway that he was really helpful.
Yeah.
And it was awesome just to see it official.
Right.
So my 184 moment, because we all kind of have our own thoughts on stuff while we're on 184, is just Malcolm asking Maxine out while she's at Hot Dog on a Stick, which
Hot Dog on a Stick.
You love Hot Dog on a Stick.
I think it is such a subtle storytelling thing that makes it awesome. Because it's just basically, you think about it, it's kind of a humiliating job, right?
It's Hot Dog on a Stick.
Exactly.
Did we talk about this on the episode that's an actual real place?
Wait.
No. Is that real?
It's a real, it's a real franchise.
Chicago.
Do a Google Hot Dog on a Stick. I swear to God, it's a real franchise, and people wear those goofy ass costumes for real.
You're shitting.
No doubt.
That is insane.
That is insane.
That makes it even better.
Yeah.
So, but this is the thing is so we talk about things that happen in a year, and I'm not going to spoil it, but this is the beginning of Malcolm and Maxine officially.
That's true, because it seemed like it's only been a year, but it seemed a lot longer than that, I guess.
Well, Maxine's been around longer, but you're right. This is the first time that they have a relationship.
So that's my moment, because when he asks her out, and it's too, you got to understand, in his world, he's a quasi-celebrity. He's been on TV. His dad's world famous. And he walks up to the chick at the Hot Dog on a Stick and asks her out. It's a class act.
I still love just Hot Dog on a Stick and the fact that it's real.
I can't believe that it wouldn't be, a hot dog on a stick's a corn dog, so...
Yeah.
I can't believe there's a real hot dog on a stick. I thought it was a clever joke.
Yeah, when we're done with this episode, you have to go and check it out on the website. It's pretty awesome.
Will do.
It's all they got all retro 70s pictures and stuff like that, I think. Unless it's not, I don't know, but it's mind blowing.
My favorite 184 moment is an action scene when Double Page breaks into the police station. I felt that when I turned the page to that it was like a real callback to a classic Savage Dragon trope where you're in the police station and all of a sudden freaks are busting down the door. That happened all the time in the old days.
And Double Page is such a great looking weird character that it's just never been kind of done before that I can think of.
Right. Yeah, she's got really cool design. And I think there's something really interesting about her design because she's intersected through her bellies.
Yeah.
And if you look at any scene any pose that she's in, if you ignore one half of her and you go to one set of legs, it looks right. And if you go to the other set of legs, it looks right. Eric's really doing something, has done some really interesting things visually with her.
Yeah.
There's also the great joke of having a Double Page spread feature Double Page.
Oh, yes.
I love that. Yeah, that shit's funny.
It is funny.
And it's cool that it's she's getting more time. I like seeing reoccurring characters. I gotta admit, it's not my favorite thing when Eric just kind of does throwaway mutants and you never see him again.
Right.
I'm really a fan of seeing reoccurring Vicious Circle guys. Sometimes Eric has a tendency of just doing those kind of throwaway mutants that look like Skrulls, kind of they got the weird Skrull chin, and it's
Yep.
it's oh man, couldn't you just thrown a kind of a reoccurring VC guy in there, Vicious Circle guy in there?
Unfortunately,
so much cooler.
Unfortunately, I don't think we've seen Double Page since 184.
Oh, keen observation.
Hopefully we'll see her again.
But I mean, it has only been a year, and if you think about in that past year, most of the villains that we saw were in jail
or getting killed
by
Dead
Dart.
Or dying.
Dead or
Maybe
dying.
Dart could take the God Sword and sever them in half and get two villains.
It'd be a single page.
Yeah.
So moving on to 185, My favorite part about this issue was actually the issue's formatting. The way it does with I believe it had a 6-panel grid on top of a 1-panel every page.
Correct. You are correct.
And I thought that was a very interesting way to tell a lot of information in a very small amount of space.
Yeah, and I kind of, to piggyback on that, my favorite thing was the dialogue, because this issue was all about Dragon's trial. So
in the months that took.
Yeah, in the way that it was set up, you'd get these, little the squared kind of little mini panels, like 9 mini panels a page, which would give you a lot of kind of talking heads dialogue, and then the one bigger panel that covered like a third of the page, which
splash panel.
Yeah, or it was pretty cool the way it was done. I thought the dialogue was really well written on this issue. It definitely was exciting, more exciting than you would think some kind of like trial issue would be,
And I guess springboarding off of that is my moment for this was that I thought the prosecution's closing argument in particular was really good, because making that closing argument that Dragon was not really a hero and all that good stuff. Just again, the way it was written, it's funny because when the panel starts, Dragon sort of has that whatever expression. Then by the end, even he's sort of shocked by like the compelling argument.
Oh
and
shit! I'm a supervillain. What happened?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just really well written. It's a book that doesn't always get praise for its writing chops, but there was some fantastic dialogue, and that was my favorite part of that issue.
The other cool thing that no one really mentioned was we got to see like kind of a panel with Alex in it, in which I know, it was almost hinted that we'd never see her character appear in the pages again.
Right.
But
I was happy to see her again.
Yeah, it shows her kind of just watching the news on the trial, I guess. So it's just kind of like just a
throw us a
quick
bone.
nod that there she is. But yeah, that was a great issue.
And I don't get to have 2 moments, but super sweet courtroom sketch cover.
Yeah, cover was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Eric with his covers always kind of comes up with something different, and definitely like in a day and age where it seems like most covers are just kind of pin-up covers nowadays. It's
poses a team.
Yeah, Eric's covers are always pretty damn cool.
Really tied in well thematically, and it was an interesting visual. So,
which is hilarious because of how far in advance he does his covers.
Yeah, yeah, 2 months ahead, and like, I don't know. It's good.
186, one of my favorite things. I put this for 186 and 187. I kind of combined the two, but it was the introduction of the next generation of the Vicious Circle, which was like, I guess Open-Face Jr. and Waylon Whipple, who was Octopus's son, and Rachel Pyle was Inferno's daughter, and then you had Dumpling and Blossom, Dung's daughters. And the one cool thing about them, I thought it was that they don't really have like typical like supervillain names. They're just kind of known by their names,
right?
And they I just like their attitude. I think like they were just like kind of like piss off to Powerhouse and Flash Mercury when they tried to like introduce themselves. And Eric kind of writes them like real like teenagers, with insecurities, or it was just pretty cool. And it's kind of cool to see new kind of reoccurring characters for Malcolm to interact with.
This was the issue with the weird coloring, right?
I think it was
no, it wasn't.
Yeah. 187, I think was.
You're right.
186 and 187 kind of featured both featured the kids.
Right.
But yeah, that was a favorite thing of mine to see. This kind of Eric starting to create characters for Malcolm.
Yeah, it's really cool because they're like introduced as the next generation, and it is kind of cool to see them dismiss, the older sort of the guard. I don't know if it's a indication of direction, sort of putting sillier characters like on the shelf and pushing towards making the book more like cohesive or whatever. But it was cool to see them, like you said, just sort of
dismissing the older guard.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a little disappointed that after the new generation of the Vicious Circle were introduced and they were so interesting, they were basically arrested and like shoved aside, and we haven't seen them again since.
Yeah, but again, it's when were they arrested? Less than a year ago. You got to figure the way characters come and go that they'll be back before long. You know, not before too long.
Well, I certainly hope so, because they are very interesting, and their backgrounds are very interesting to me.
Well, you never know if their time in the clink will make them more interesting.
That's true.
And really, are they in jail or are they in like juvenile detention or what? You know,
because they are minors. So
right.
My favorite moment for this issue was the completely, for me, unexpected double-page spread, which destroyed, basically sealed the deal for Dragon's people.
That was an intense page to flip to.
Yeah, zero foreshadowing.
No foreshadowing, no segue.
No, just
Boom.
flip the page, boom, everyone's dead. Ship that you've been seeing almost at that point too many times.
Getting sick of that ship. Oh no, it's gone.
Yeah, it's decimated.
I thought you guys said shit. Getting sick of that shit. Ship, as in the Krylon spaceship.
Exactly.
Eating up 2 pages.
I had this on my list as well. This was huge. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite moments of the year. Like you said, there was no warning. And I think previously you kind of felt like Erik kind of tied that up and wasn't going to revisit that for a while. I mean, he had the Krylons land on, Vanguard's home planet, which had already been decimated. They were going to claim it as their own now.
Right.
And you figured that he would kind of put that up on the shelf. Okay, Dragon's people are fine. He's back on Earth. We'll deal with that. We'll go back to them another time. And then, a few issues later, like you said, no warning. You turn the page, and boom, is the Krylons torn apart by the Tyranian soldiers.
And for the very observant, and I didn't make the connection, but this double-page spread had one of the Dragon Sons, completely murdered.
You didn't
notice
I
didn't
that
get
was,
that either.
You didn't notice that Krull was there?
I thought he was just...
That was the whole point.
I thought he was just a guy.
But he's so ripped.
I know. I made that same
muscular
mistake too.
and physically.
I realize that now.
Yeah, I thought we talked about this on the episode.
No, I mean at the time.
At the time. Oh,
yeah, at the time when I read it, I was so squirrel-brained from seeing an entire race destroyed. I just didn't make that connection that was him. But that's part of the power of this. Is it's like everyone's dead plus his son.
God damn it, Dragon! You're so bad at this.
It's the shittiest parent ever.
It was such an amazing splash too. Just the colors, I don't know. It was just gruesome and it's just so shocking. Full bleed, double page spread, just really freaking shocking. The ship just, it looks like it just nosedived into the planet and just broke in half.
And then we just cut away and we never see any of them again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until
at
the end, you see, I guess Lorella has that transmission to Dragon.
If I had to, and we were kind of doing issues and stuff, but I mean, if I had to boil it down to moments of the year, I would say that's in the top 3 at least.
Definitely. I agree with you there.
My favorite moment was when the Claw punched Angel out of her clothes, because that was just so freaking silly.
Fantastic.
The Claw was a silly character. I mean, it was kind of, I guess, came full circle because Daredevil was in the book and, have him fight his biggest villain. But, I didn't know how to take Claw. Was he going to stick around for a while? And then it was like he came and almost as soon as he appeared on the scene, he was taken out.
Came and went like a hurricane.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. He's probably one of the less memorable plot lines of the year, with everything else going on.
Yeah, I felt it was just just trying to tie it up. Like, Erik, all right, I'm done playing with Daredevil. Let me give him a last hurrah and have him face his villain. And I think the best thing that come out of that was Thunderhead's involvement.
Yeah,
and bringing him back into the book, and getting more of his personality, kind of a light shown on that.
I'll agree.
So issue 187 was the one with the coloring experiment. How'd you guys dig on that coloring? Do you guys remember?
I'm okay with it. I don't love it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what I felt as well. But my favorite moment from the issue in particular was Firepower telling Powerhouse and Flash Mercury off, telling him to get out of town. Just because I kind of felt like that gives those two characters, who are two of my favorite villains in the book right now, some more leg room to go do things.
Right. I enjoyed how every page was like a 6-panel page.
Oh, that's right. Like grid formatting as well.
Yeah, I kind of like when Erik does that because I don't know. I just feel like you get a lot of story in it, and he's good at doing these panels and not making it just all talking heads. And you expect to see like 6-panel pages not to have much action in them. Just to be a lot of exposition or whatever. But he manages to just throw a lot in there, and it's pretty fun to watch. And he can fit a lot more stuff in these books when he does these smaller panels. You know what I mean? So you can flash between Meter Maid and Star, or the Vicious Circle, or Malcolm, or the police force. There's just a lot going on in this book, in this particular comic. So I enjoyed the panel layout.
Totally agree. These 6-panel pages, like as much as I love like layout experimentation. It is awesome just to have it makes for kind of a dense read.
That's true. You do get more.
Really. There's so much going on in this book that sometimes you just need these issues like that.
Yeah, to just get the character stuff, so you have time for the big double-page splashes, fight scenes.
Yeah. I mean, some of my favorite issues have been the smaller panels like that. Which issue was it where it was like one day a month or whatever, one day a year or something like that? What was that issue?
It started with 20 panels, and then every day it took one away.
Yeah, something like that. It was just like basically like a year in the life of Savage Dragon type thing.
Yeah, that one had some whack. That one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, that thing has some crazy formatting. Because if I remember correctly, the first page had 20 panels.
Yeah, and just kind of subtracted by one every time.
Yeah.
And my favorite moment for this issue is, again, in my top 3, is just this double-page sequence of Dung getting dumped in front of his daughters by this woman that we don't really know or whatever. But it's funny, and it's also become super sad. Because at first you just like the scenario of Dung being in a relationship anyway is really like, hilarious and ridiculous because he's always got flies around him and, he's in his shit cannon suit or whatever. But then when like she calls the girls not real and they like start crying and stuff, it was funny to me because I was like, wow, I'm emoting for these fecal puppets.
That's that whole sequence was pretty. Both funny, fucked up, and kind of sad.
It was really surprising because you don't expect any kind of like Dung is always kind of a joke character anyway. Anytime he shows up, just given his nature.
Right.
And I thought it was a surprising amount of emotion to put into a sequence with Dung. So because he clearly cares for these two girls. So as a father, so it's kind of I don't know. It was really a good surprise for me.
It was just awesome seeing like family life of villains or like just the background of villains. I know that's how like this issue was kind of hyped up. It was like we're gonna get a different look at the Vicious Circle. So that was a cool sequence, and to see Dung kind of aging, all grayed out, and the beard and everything was kind of neat.
Dumpling and Blossom. Can't go wrong with those two.
So 188. Craig, what did you think of it?
188 had... I don't know if I had a favorite moment. I didn't pick a favorite moment for every episode, every issue.
Well, I'll say, I actually... You remember that issue opens up with the whole resolution of Wildstar and his whole nightmare?
Yeah.
I dig that stuff. I thought it was... Even though it didn't last very long, I just thought it was a really cool way to bring things together and complete whatever weirdness was going on with him over the last 10 years.
Whereas I was sort of like, okay. It was necessary. And I still was scratching my head a little bit. And my favorite moment out of there was the double page spread where you've got the Claw and Daredevil facing off on opposing pages.
Dude. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, that was really awesome.
It's good. It was a great thing because, like, they're sort of face to face. This issue is their final encounter, and in the Savage Dragon book anyway. And it was just a really nice visual touch to you flip this out, and it's not a double page spread. There's still like 8 panels across these 2 pages.
Right.
But you got the Claw on the left, all giant. You got the Daredevil face on the right, all giant. It's awesome.
Did this issue have the death of the little wise guys by
Yep.
Dart?
Yes, Dart. That was my favorite moment of the issue.
Gotcha.
Is Dart just cutting their throats with like no hesitation?
Oh yeah.
Because you got the death of Dart and the death of the Claw in this issue.
Death of little wise guys and the death of the Claw.
I mean, what did I say? Dart.
No, Dart.
No. Yeah. Right. Claw and little wise guys. So it was a pretty wild issue.
It did push that scene. Really did push her up as like a lot more evil. She'd already killed one, but then to like stab the like I guess the Curly or whatever in the throat and then like drink his blood or whatever. It's like damn.
I got a favorite for 189. If we want to talk about 189, it's probably one of my all-time.
I'm going to take a wild guess at what it is.
Go ahead.
No, you say it. I'm just going to see if I'm right.
The tooth going through your ass's skull.
That sounds about
Yes,
right.
in your ass. That was amazing. And between that double page spread of the Krylons getting slaughtered and then this last panel I did not see coming, and just Dragon just getting a laugh about it. Like he just jokes. He's like, I want to get one thing. What did he say? He was like, Ronald Winston your ass is just kind of like yelling at a mangled, beat up dragon who just got his ass handed to him in jail, and apparently he ordered that to happen, and then he's telling Dragon, get it straight, I'm in charge here. And then Dragon kind of just like, I want you to get one thing through your thick skull, and just shoots his tooth through his head, and then sits there and laughs about his like own one-liners.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the most incredible moments of the year, really.
Totally agreed.
And you mentioned earlier that this year was kind of a way to start wrapping up things and bringing things back that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Ronald Winston Your Ass was brought back during this whole trial arc.
Right.
As an antagonist of Dragons, and this sort of resolves his story as well.
I just want to point out this. Erik has the best sound effects, and the tooth going through his head is just fup. F-U-P-P, fup.
It's meaty.
That's the sound of brains going through your cranium.
I think we all in that all of our favorite moments of this issue.
I can't see how it isn't anyone's favorite issue. I mean, it's the Savage and Savage Dragon.
The fact that he just enjoys his own one-liner. No one's around. Like, no one's around. That's just for him.
And talking about like killing off major characters, we just talked about how Claw was and the little wise guys were killed in the episode before, and then in this episode, don't we get what was the lady that was Mutation?
Not Helen Black, the other one.
Gertie.
Yeah.
She dies.
Mutation's depowered, so she's off the table. Helen Black's back.
Yeah. What's Battle Axe?
Battle Axe dies. That was almost one of my moments for the issue. Not so much that I wanted her to die. It was more of a memorable moment for me because I really didn't want her to die.
Yeah.
I thought she was too interesting to get rid of.
Right.
Also, I almost chose that as my moment because Malcolm makes another lifelong enemy of his like brother.
Yeah. What's his little brother's name on that?
Barry.
Yeah, that's a weird thing too. You almost forget that.
His name's Barry.
That
he exists.
Little guy is hanging around. There's another like kid dragon.
Another chosen one.
Yeah. So yeah, that is cool.
Very close to being my moment of that issue if it wasn't for that one-liner.
Yeah, it's hard to beat that.
So 190. That one. That one had a load of good stuff for me.
Yeah,
But I'll
yeah.
let you cats go, because I think we have some overlap, so I'll just talk about my stuff with you.
I
Go ahead.
love the Flash Mercury backup by
Yeah,
Frank Bosco.
That's it. That's one of them.
Yep, definitely.
That is so good. That Flash Mercury backup, I think Jim said it, but I could read a whole book of that every month.
Every month.
Every month. That is fantastic.
For me, it was just it being a digest version, and it was a tie. It was between the digest version and just the Mako kind of dragon fisticuffs that, it's a classic kind of battle, and it's two guys, and again, kind of Dragon gets his ass handed. I think we talked about this. I don't think Dragon's ever really beaten Mako.
No.
And sadly, it's, looking back, we know that's the last time those two will ever fight, and it lived up to the hype. I love the whole jail, Dragon in jail. Like I said in the beginning of this segment, Dragon in jail is one of my favorite things, and it just kind of, that whole episode, and it being digest, I think the way it read as a digest was just, it gave you more pages to kind of flip and see like a surprise on the other side, more setups.
Yeah, the formatting on that was quite impressive. The way he did it as the dual release.
Yeah.
That's got to be very tricky to pull off.
And even the backup artists, too, even their backups fit that format. And
Yeah, Scott James had to adjust his to.
It was amazing.
And Frank Fosco. And to have two awesome backups in that issue goes down as one of my favorite Savage Dragon issues of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. For the experiment, for the backups, I mean, it was firing on all cylinders.
Exactly.
I will just say then, since you guys talked, I had a three-way tie of favorite moments for this issue, so you guys covered two of them, so really I'm left with my one moment that you didn't cover, which was I liked the format and I liked the backup, but I also super dug Brenda Funk getting powers as a surprise ending.
That's right, from that weird skull shaman guy or whatever he
Shao
was.
Kahn. But I just didn't see it coming, because it seems like it's over, and then you flip the page.
Surprise epilogue.
Yeah, like the whole Dread Knight, like, I will slay the dragon, and you're like, oh, let's get into the issue, and then you flip it, and boom, there's Brenda Funk getting powers from this guy you've never seen before. Who would have seen her coming back as anything?
And I want to go back, but the one thing I forgot to mention about that whole scene when we talk about 189 about Dragon like spitting the tooth through your ass, the amazing thing about that, I don't know if you remember either Eric talking on the boards or I don't know if we talked to him about it, was he wasn't even planning on killing your ass until that
the moment.
That moment, and he just thought it just had to be done, because in 191 he had Dread Knight on the cover, and I think I remember him saying it was like a last minute and he had to make like Osgood Dread Knight because he had already killed your ass off, because it was just a perfect thing to do. So that's kind of a cool. I really enjoyed that little antidote.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, but you got to think of like the amount of improv to just suddenly force it to work real quick like that. Pretty damn slick.
Right.
I should add, since when we first aired this, that I didn't have the digest issue. I did get it after that, and I super love the digest. Like, if he wants to, I know he's not fond of repeating experiments, but if he wants to repeat this one at a later date, I'm okay with that.
Me too.
I'll double dip.
Yeah. So 191, what'd you guys think?
I know mine.
Go for it.
Dudes, Maxine dumps Malcolm.
Wah wah.
Super. So within an entire year, you see, like I said, 184, they hook up. By 191, they break up, and I was like, again, it was just one of those things for like surprising amount of emotion, because you liked them. They were a good couple. They were a cute couple. You want things to work out for them. You see Malcolm cry. I was like, it's good emotional moments. It's really draws to a distinction between him and his womanizing old man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Definitely.
And there were a couple throughout the whole year. There were a couple of pretty good Maxine Malcolm scenes sprinkled throughout. I think there was a good one in 185. I know for certain.
I'm gonna say, yeah, like, and some of those were almost moments, except I just chose to stick to like their two most crucial moments,
Right.
like the carnival games thing.
That
and
one. Yep, definitely.
the date at the beach, meeting the parents. Those were awesome moments. But I mean, like I said, if you got to get a punch to the gut moment, Maxine dumping him, I was like, oh man.
And the worst part is she's not dumping him for any reason except that her parents don't like him.
Yeah.
That's
that
the
made it
tragic
blow.
part about it.
Because she's tore up too. It's not like she's being cold-blooded. She doesn't really want to do it. It's a good moment. It was the moment of the issue. This issue was awesome, but it was the moment of the issue for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, my moment's more obvious. I really dug Dart confronting Mako for the last time.
Very close to my moment too.
Yeah, I felt
so awesome.
I felt that honestly I didn't see it coming, but it made such poetic sense when it happened.
Yeah,
that it was her that put Mako down.
Wasn't that awesome? That just the way it worked out, I guess.
It was such a cool scene too, though. It's like the way he like just lunges at her, and it looks so menacing, and his mouth's just got her whole hand swallowed, and then she just right in half. So gruesome.
I thought she was losing that arm for sure.
Yeah,
I was certain of that myself. I was going, oh, what's Erik doing? Is he going to maim Dart this early in her reign?
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. She so did the maiming.
For me, what I really enjoyed about this issue was just all the Vicious Circle characters that showed up. You got that double page spread, and it's just a mix of old and new, and a lot of guys that we hadn't seen in a while, like Rogue Warrior and Chaos and Control, and Portal. I don't think we had seen for a while, and I totally forgot about him, or
even
didn't
the
know
Imposter.
Yeah, some of these guys didn't even know if they existed in this, Savage World version we see show up, and it's just kind of cool just to, especially that double page spread, just to see some of these guys again, kind of up close and detailed. I always enjoy that.
Chaos and Control had reached a Battle Beast-like moment where I was just like, where are they? Bring them back. We want Chaos and Control. And then there they were. It was awesome.
Yeah. So this, again, like I said, this whole year has been pretty cool with the jailbreak type stuff, or whatever, the jail stuff, and so much happened in this issue again with crazy deaths. Like I said, every issue, and like you mentioned, this one was Mako's turn, but there was also all these little minor guys, like Portal gets blasted. A bunch of guys die in this one.
I even love the backup. I can't say it's a moment, but I can't let it go without saying I did dig it.
Yeah.
Which backup was that?
Max Damage.
Yeah.
Oh, the Max Damage one. Yeah, that was pretty cute.
Super dug it. It was funny, pretty. The beginning.
My favorite things are that, like, whenever we have these backups that just tie in continuity with like characters we haven't seen in like 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Rivers,
Weed.
What was the other guy's name? The environmental guy. What's his name?
Oh, geez, I don't remember.
I'm like, Erik makes
like guys that showed up in Freak Force for like.
It's Major Damage.
Yeah.
No, Major something. Major Disaster.
Major Disaster, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's Max Damage, so. Yeah, it was a good backup. Scott James has got a lot of talent.
Yeah, and he works good his style with like Larsen's characters. I really enjoy it.
But 192, the last one of this amazing year, and what an issue!
So much going on in this issue.
So take it away.
Well, my favorite bit of the issue was just Dragon fucking with what's his name. Doing the old
the
bait and
priest
switch.
guy?
Yeah, the priest.
Parasol?
Yes.
Parasol?
Yeah, just messing with him, just like Dragon does. I thought that was incredibly clever. And while he was messing with him, he was basically messing with the audience, which I thought was cool.
That was genius. Because it was thoughts that you as a reader have. You don't want Dragon to die, or whatever.
Yeah, we worship him.
He is our God. No, that was awesome. I had two. I had some cheating again. I'm sorry, but the firepower getting killed by darts.
Yep. That's a good one.
That was awesome because we even joked about it on the FINcast that she used the God Sword so much she should change her name to God Sword. And then And then at the end, that was what sealed the deal, was the darts.
Yeah, that was awesome. The exploding darts to the eyes.
So that was like fantastic. And it's funny because it's one of those things too that like, and you know it can't be because firepower has been designed for a long time, but where only his eyes look human.
Right.
And like to get the darts in the eyes, it almost makes it feel like planned from the get-go. It's just, I don't know, like what a more logical way for him to die than darts to the eyes.
Yeah.
The other moment was the Brotherhood of the Fin shout out. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Pretty neat. I'm with you with the whole dart thing. I just like that we finally see her take over as head of the Vicious Circle. So I'm excited to see where that's gonna go. I like how, like, you know, it kind of, it's a throwback to the old stories of the Vicious Circle where it's like you just picture them at the top of some skyscraper somewhere because you look in the background, they're in some kind of office building, and now she's surrounded by what's remaining of the Vicious Circle, and she's like, you know, it's time for the next phase of the plan. So she's got all her lackeys around her, so we'll see where that goes.
I almost chose as my favorite moment of the issue Mike Torres's face being on that billboard. So close.
Mike Torres, the flatter for the colors.
So close. It was right there. Moment of the year. Maybe 2014, Mike.
So that's it. That's all the issues in the year.
Yeah, 9 issues. I mean, it's weird. During the year, it really felt like they were coming out monthly.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting like so much, and then we get to the end of the year, it was only 9 issues, and even though it was just 9 issues, it felt like it was just still satisfying.
Yeah, so much happened.
One thing too to add into like what so much is happening is all the amazing backups we got this year. One backup we didn't really mention that much was the Zeke background. I don't know if we mentioned it at all, but Frank Fosco and, well, I think we did mention it a little bit, but Gavin writing it and Frank Fosco on art chores was just, that's pretty awesome too. So I mean, just a whole bunch of amazing backups with amazing artists and writers, and
Simon Malit, his. I mean,
the Glum, Mr. Glum.
Wrong, but his Glum backup was awesome.
I think 184 actually had the final issue of the Vanguard, the final back of the Vanguard serial. I could be wrong.
It probably did.
Yeah.
In fact,
so we had that, the Deadly Duo ones, like we said, the Flash Mercury and Powerhouse backup, Zeke backup, Glum backup, just good stuff.
More backup than a plumbing on taco night. It's good. It was good.
It's gonna be hard to top a year off like this for next year. I hope Eric's up to the challenge.
You know,
well, he's got a lot of room to do it with the whole new direction with Malcolm in charge. So
right.
Put those backup artists on stories that highlight characters that aren't getting screen time. That's your winning formula, it seems.
Yeah.
What are those young Vicious Circle kids doing? I don't know, but let's have Scott James draw it. Well, you write it, Eric.
While we're talking about our favorite kind of dragon moments of 2013, do we want to talk about some of our kind of favorites of 2013 that are non-Erik Larsen related? Like, what do you?
Sure. I mean, I read comics all the time.
What did you guys dig in 2013 that maybe some of our listeners don't know about and might be interesting to them?
Well, this has been, I got to say, it's been a really good year for comics in general. I've found quite a lot to enjoy this year. One of the surprising hits for me, it's probably going to make everyone laugh, was the Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man crossover that Archie did throughout the summer.
No, sir, I've heard nothing but praise about that, and I want to hear it from you.
It was epic. It was everything I'd hoped it would be. It's just Archie already does a really good job with the Sonic the Hedgehog comic.
Mhm.
And
That's got a
He-Man
huge
comic.
following, right? I mean, that's up in like how many issues of that are out?
Oh,
Like,
Sonic's up at like 200, and
It is the longest running video game comic in history.
it sure is.
what is it? What kind of sales does it have? Is it
It
like
used
up
to
there?
have really, really good sales, but they've been down lately, but not enough to cancel it. But
Mhm.
it used to have really impressive numbers. It used to be on the upper top 300 all the time. I'm not sure where it falls now, but it's
Yeah.
at issue 256 now. It just passed 250 issues.
Wow.
Actually, right in the middle of the crossover, because the way they did it was, Sonic actually has two titles. It's Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Universe, and then Mega Man has one title. So what they did was 4 issues of each title as they came out monthly was the next part of the crossover.
Okay.
Yeah, so part 1 was in Mega Man, part 2 was in Sonic, part 3 was in Sonic Universe, so on and so forth until they did all 12 issues. It was just really epic. If you're a fan of either character or even neither character, because it's really accessible too. There's just this one moment towards the end where every single Mega Man Robot Master shows up.
Awesome.
One of the most epic double page spreads I've ever seen.
Awesome.
That's cool.
I've heard
But that was good.
I've heard the praise I've heard, and again, sad that I am only speculating on praise, but the praise I've heard is that it's just good comics anyway.
Oh yeah, Ian Fleming, he writes Mega Man and the Sonic comics.
Uh-huh.
He writes both, and he is easily the best all ages writer out there right now. The way he manages to make things both friendly for younger people and like makes things matter. Like he can build suspense properly.
Kind of like DuckTales was when Don Rosa was doing those Scrooge McDuck comics.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good comparison actually.
That's awesome. We need more of that. It's like it's really cool to hear that like an all ages book like that can be up in the issue like 250. There's no excuses. That stuff can be done. I wish Marvel and the big two kind of pushed more stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll totally agree. I think the industry absolutely needs more stuff like that.
Speaking of kind of an all ages book, I picked up the Battling Boy trade paperback by Paul Pope. Did you guys look at that?
I
didn't, but I do like Paul Pope.
I didn't know that was all ages.
Yeah, it's all ages. It's kind of like about a godchild that's got to go kind of to Earth to go prove himself. Kind of like
That came out this year.
Romp. Yeah. I mean, they've been talking about it for years and years and years. I think it kept getting pushed back, and finally it came out. It's just came out as a collected trade paperback. Of course, if you like Paul Pope's art, and really who doesn't, it's gorgeous stuff. And it's definitely all ages.
I pulled it up on Amazon. I'm thumbing through it. It does look great.
I know that was the talk of the town, man. I mean, a lot of people were going super bananas over Battling Boy. I saw a lot of fan art of it, and it's like new,
Yeah. It's just fun. I mean, it's not, the story isn't super like crazy or anything like that. It's more of an action comic, all ages, and I hope it kind of ends on a to be continued type thing. So I hope it doesn't take too long for a second volume, although I think it will take a while, but who knows?
Yeah, Paul Pope is not the fastest artist.
Yeah, I know. It's so beautiful. There's, he's fighting goblin guys and fighting, it's kind of almost like a post-apocalyptic world, or like Earth that he's on. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a different alternate reality with, weird kind of
monsters,
technology.
Yeah.
I guess the sort of Batman character of that Earth gets killed, and this Battling Boy comes down from like a kind of like a Thor, like a kid Thor is what he's like. He kind of comes down from like a Valhalla, where he's got to prove himself as a hero before he can return back. It's
this
like
is
a rite of
great.
passage.
I regret this.
Yeah. It's cool. I definitely recommend it. I gave it to my best friend for Christmas because I enjoyed it so much. And I recommend you guys checking that out.
Sweet, man. Good to hear.
What about you, Raven?
Well, it's not my most favorite book. I had slim pickings this year because financially I was getting kicked in the wallet all the time.
Yeah.
but Since I know that me and Jim have an overlapping, this is my non-Larsen book of the year. It's not even a book, but we'll get to that. I'll let Jim do the intro. But so the only other thing really I'm reading is like Walking Dead and Invincible, and I think Walking Dead stepped it up a lot in 2013, only because. Do you disagree?
Continue.
No, all I was going to say is I just really think it stepped it up. I had felt like it was not at its best.
Lately?
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to keep it up, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well,
you say that, but we read Savage Dragon.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly, I lost interest. I say that like I lost interest, but I continue to read it. I enjoy The Walking Dead, but I do feel that it hasn't been at its best in a while. I mean, right around issue 100, I was considering dropping it, just because I was getting to a point where it wasn't engaging me like it used to. But I hung on to it because it's one of the few books I've read since issue number 1.
Okay.
And maybe that's unhealthy, because I know a lot of people are like that. But the war arc in particular that's been going on for the half of 2013 hasn't really re-engaged me the way I'd hoped it would.
Okay.
No. So I'm actually considering dropping at the end of the arc.
So for me, it's the reverse. I felt that I hated a lot of the other stuff because it was kind of like not super awesome.
Right.
But the war arc for me has just picked up the pace.
I see.
And it comes out 2 times a month. That helps.
Yeah.
And
it does come out twice a month now?
They're pumping them out.
The war
Holy
arc
crap.
is. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really sweet for me, and I really super dig that it's kind of delivering payoff, whereas the book has felt like it was just not. It never feels like it's spinning its wheels, but like the main villain and whatnot just seems like way too much of a loose cannon for things to be as okay as they've been for a while.
Right.
And the war arc seems a bit like, okay, this is really where it should go. So I think it's more ambitious than anything the book's ever done, and that's good. I like to see writers, try to challenge themselves. I think that if you think Walking Dead is a book where the only thing that ever happens is they think everything's okay, then it gets bad, then they move on, then they repeat. The war arc is interesting because it just mixes it up, So there's good stuff. That was not my favorite book. Not my favorite non-Larsen book, but I know I share that one title with Jim, so I'll let that go for now.
Craig, get another one?
Yeah, I got a bunch. I'm not going to go into super detail like I did with Battling Boy. I'll just throw them out there. And one is...
I'll do the same then.
All right. Well, one was Copra, which was
Copra?
Michelle Fief's book, who we've had on the show, and I probably praised Copra enough that the listeners are sick of hearing it. But that series ended this year, and it was just awesome through and through. I think it kind of got Bendis's attention and stuff, and I don't know if you guys have heard, but he's Fife's been picked to write the new Ultimates book at Marvel.
Right, that's right. He's doing Ultimates.
Yeah, so that was an amazing book.
That's a big step up.
I was just going to say, I think the entire comic industry agrees with you.
Yeah,
and you look at the best of lists of 2013, and everyone's got that book on there.
I think he got on Time Magazine's top 10.
Are you serious?
Did it really? Is that true?
Or was it? I could have swore it was something big.
That's
but now
good.
I can't find a link. I could have swore it was Time Magazine's. Or one of those that do a top 10 list every year. I think it was up there with Saga was up on the list, I think.
And I'm super depressed because the thing is that from the moment he did his Twisted Dragon Funnies thing, I was like, whoa, this guy's doing something fresh and different visually.
Yeah, definitely.
And I got my comic guy to get me Zagus.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember...
Oh, no, Copra wasn't on this list. My mistake.
Okay.
Zombo was, which was another book I was aware of.
They're not hip. They don't know what's up. But I just...
Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. I was just saying that, it was such an awesome Cinderella story for me because my comic guy is normally awesome, and he is like the one I was going to is normally super awesome and never would like bust readers' chops for what they buy, but he was like a dick about Zegas.
Yeah.
And like he was like drinking the haterade on it, and I was like, dude, you know, you
Just
got
because
to.
it was artsy and fartsy.
Well, that's the way he was acting, and then I showed
Because
it.
it looked too indie for him.
Well, like yeah, Euro, and I hear these things Euro, and
Yeah.
too, it's and people that like throw that out like a negative because European comics are the bomb too.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
And I showed it to some other friends, and they were shitty about it. And I was just like, man. So it sucks that I didn't have money to follow Capra because I was super duper digging what he was doing with Zegas, and then like it's such an awesome Cinderella story just to see this guy that had no distribution.
Yeah, and like Bendis is writing about him on forums, and like all these, I think Matt Faction wrote something about, one of his favorite books. Like all these guys are, professionals were digging it,
And
we
that's
knew
it.
all along.
Super validating. That's all. Like
Yeah.
it's awesome to see someone that you dug what they were doing, and also too. I mean, I'll just tell you guys that a lot of comic artists and stuff, they'll throw out all these excuses why they can't do stuff, and I'm always like, well, this is a person who I watched it happen in like a year. He didn't do a Kickstarter. He didn't do an Indiegogo. Nothing against those things. Hell, I used one. But I'm saying like, he saved his money. He did the books through Etsy, and through sheer quality of book, it got attention.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and not only did he like create the books, he, produced. You know what I mean? He put them together by hand. And mailed them out. You know what I'm saying? Like he mailed each.
Distribution,
Yeah, distribution.
Nuts.
I mean,
Just nuts.
it was just nuts on a monthly basis.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
At one point, I actually asked him about doing something for something, and I remember he replied back, and he's like, "No, I can't. All I can do is this." And he's busy. He was taking care of that, and I was like,
all
okay.
consuming.
So it's
It's just amazing, and part of the charm of that, I think he wrote that somewhere, was like, I just got to keep going with the flow, and if I don't like something, I can't dwell on it. I just got to keep pushing to the next issue, and that's kind of almost like the old school thought of comics. You just, you get it out, you don't dwell on anything, and keep redoing it. I think some of these newer artists or some of these guys just aren't happy all the time with their product, and they just sit on it, and then things get late and stuff. But if you just kind of let it just flow and just it doesn't have to be perfect, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you just do that, the book's even better because you just kind of you let it go and you keep moving them.
It attains like a liquid quality that you can't get by polishing something too much.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that it lacks polish. I mean, his work's freaking amazing. But that's just to say that it has a quality that you're not going to get by refining something over and over again.
Right.
All right. Well, Jim, I lied. I said I was going to go through them quick, and I just totally chewed up a bunch of time with that. So real quick, the three other things I wanted to just talk about didn't necessarily come out in 2013, but I bought them and read them in 2013. The Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 2, which was sold out like 5 years ago or 6 years ago when it came out and went for huge bucks on like eBay and whatnot. Marvel actually did a reprinting of that, second printing, which was awesome. So I snapped that up. I also my comic book store had this big sale on all the omnibuses, and I got the John Byrne omnibus, Fantastic Four omnibus for like, I think it was like $40 or $30, something ridiculous. And I think Eric cracks on John Byrne's Fantastic Four run a lot, but I love that run. And then I got Volume 3 of the Steve Ditko archive books from Fantagraphics, which are freaking awesome. I already had 1 and 2. I think there's 5.
What do those reprint?
Those reprint all of like, I think it's like, I don't know if it's EC or whatever. It's all like his horror and like suspense comics from before.
Oh, okay. Is that stuff all public domain, or is it licensed?
I don't know if it's licensed. I'm not sure, but it's all his work like kind of before the Comics Code Authority.
Right.
And you look at his art, like take a look at like Volume 1. I think is the best volume. I think they put all the best stuff in that. His horror book from the archive. It's Steve Ditko Archives and Fantagraphics. Look at Volume 1. and look at his art in that, and it blows away all of his Amazing Spider-Man stuff. It's amazing. It's like really creepy stuff. Like the stories they're these little short 5 to 8 page stories, and that volume 1 got me hooked. I mean, I like Steve Ditko, but the more I collect of his and read, the more I like.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
I don't have a lot of familiarity with the guy outside of his, Spider-Man run.
I'm in the same boat. I know he's a legend, but I just haven't had enough
I know he's
exposure.
a legend. I know he's a recluse.
Yeah. Well, go on like Amazon and look at like the sneak preview of like, especially volume 1. Take a look at that. Like the faces of these characters, the details and stuff, they're so good and creepy, and like his monsters are so creepy. It's so awesome. I get a kick out of it, so
Definitely
that's
have to
it.
check it out, man.
I'm not gonna hog up any more.
Well, just for me, just real quick, Astro City came back in 2013. And I love me some Astro City.
Yeah.
That has been excellent all year.
And it was the whole team, wasn't it? Like Alex Ross on covers.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's Alex Ross and
Kurt Busiek.
Kurt Busiek and the other guy who's always there. I'm terrible.
No disrespect.
Yeah, Jason, what is it?
Amazing Pants.
Anderson, that's his name. It's
I thought it was Amazing Pants for sure.
No, unfortunately. Oh, Kevin. Damn it. I'm pissed. I gotta find it. And they put the credits at the back of the issue.
Buffoons!
You just scared the crap out of me.
Brent Anderson, yes. The guy who did Rising Stars as well.
Oh, okay.
That guy.
It is weird to see that come back.
Oh, I don't know. It's Busiek's pet project. He always wants to do it, but it's always just tough scheduling-wise because he's got so much, paying work to do.
Uh-huh.
And Alex Ross is cover artist these days, and I don't know. But it's good. It's been back, and it's been excellent, and it's been everything I ever wanted.
I think that's what throws me off from collecting it, that it seems like it comes out
well, this is an
randomly.
ongoing series, and it's on issue 8, and it's hit every publication month. So I think it's going to stick around this time.
Sweet. I know it was a book that got nothing but praise back in the day. I liked everything I read of it. I never stayed issue for issue with it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's cool that it's back, man. I'll grab it and trade.
Yeah, I started collecting it when I got into comics back in 2001. I got caught up then, and I've been following it whenever it comes out since. And so it's been good to have it back on a monthly basis. But moving on, other good comic from last year was Think Tank, which was is from it comes out of Top Cow.
Okay.
It's written by Matt Hawkins. I believe he's done some other stuff with like Cyberforce. But what Think Tank is like real world military technology applications taken to its most terrifying conclusion, but played for like really, really realistic. Like right now, like World War III is brewing in like a really realistic way, with like through like gene targeted super viruses and drones and
that sounds horrifying.
Yes, well, it's a fascinating read.
This does not sound entertaining in the least.
Oh, it's entertaining. Its lead character is a smart ass. You'd like him.
Okay.
He's calling you a smart ass, Raven.
Yeah, he's a genius level inventor who gets basically hired by the United States government to like do whatever the hell he wants, and whatever he does, they weaponize. And he has no conscience until then. He discovers he has one.
He's the blonde guy on the covers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a good book. It's actually next issue will conclude its first quote unquote season, and then one of the big problem. Well, it's not really a problem. One of the big problems with selling the book is that it's black and white.
Oh, okay.
And as you can imagine, that doesn't lead to sales.
So
they're relaunching the book in color, which hopefully will help things. But I'm gonna miss the black and white.
Oh, so they are going color.
Yeah.
I can tell you, profits wise, ouch.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper to make a black and white book.
Yeah, I bet.
But other books, Fables has been good. Transformers Regeneration 1 has been awesome. It's going to be concluding issue 100 a month or two from now. Saga has been excellent all year. But really for me, and this is the big thing, 2013 was the year of Weekly Shonen Jump.
Mm-hmm.
I picked it. It has a digital edition, of course, and I just got my iPad back last January, and they had an app, and they published Weekly Shonen Jump in North America digital only. The thing what really got me on board was the fact that every issue is only $1, and you get like 300 pages of content. It's the most extreme deal in comics today.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cheap, and you get, even if 50% of it is crap, you still get your money's worth.
And don't you find that weekly comics is such an amazing, like, appropriate feeling for comics?
Yes, I do.
It is so much better than monthly.
I haven't mentioned it, but 2000 AD, which I always talk about, has been going strong. I've been reading that weekly since 2004. So, more weekly comics in my diet is just very, very cool.
Oh, yeah.
And Weekly Shonen Jump is full of comics you may have heard of, like One Piece and Bleach and Naruto. And Toriko is really good, but but the comic that really, really, really captured my imagination is a comic. It's called One Punch Man.
I'm on board with you, Jim.
One Punch Man is it's almost the perfect mix of American and Japanese style superheroes into like this one thing, but it's played for comedy. The main character, his ability, quote unquote, is that no matter how big the challenge or how dangerous the villain, he always defeats them with one single punch. And like I said, it's based. It was originally a webcomic that got picked up by this artist. I think his name's One, or I'm mixing that up with the writer.
One was the writer.
One's the writer.
Is it an American comic or
No, this is a Japanese comic from Japan.
Webcomic, yeah, even more. And if I don't know if you know this, Jim, but it's out there for you to read still, the webcomic, and it looks like it's drawn in MS Paint.
Yes, it is very crudely drawn, which is what's so amazing about the actual comic version is that the artwork is just so detailed.
And that artist is from iShield 21.
That guy.
Which is a football. It's a comic from Japan about American football. And that is one of my most favorite comic series of all time. And it's purely because of the amazing presentation they bring. That guy's detail is insane, next level. Like, he is one of the best artists in the world. And, I mean, I don't even hesitate to say it. And for him to be drawing this thing that was previously a webcomic and looked like it was drawn in MS Paint, and if you read the way you should read is read the comic, the proper, like the one with read the one with the good art first, then go back and look at the webcomic, and it's amazing because he's an amazing artist, but he still used that guy's layouts.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He would, every now and then he'll add more panels and stuff for action and stuff, but if you do like shot for shot comparisons, he used the original like author's layouts and stuff too. So it is kind of like an Axe Cop scenario.
Right. It's almost exactly like that, really. The way it's played. It's played straight, but the comedy is sort of like always bubbling up from underneath. It's got a lot of puns. Mummin Rider is probably the greatest character ever created. Mummin Rider, those who don't know, Kamen Rider is a very popular Japanese superhero from the 60s. Mummin is a word that means you have no license, so you don't drive cars. So Mummin Rider is a guy who drives a bicycle for justice.
Yeah, justice is his bicycle. And it seems like, but what's so funny is like, and a testament, I think, to the good writing in the series is that joke character has one of the strongest moments. Like,
he sure does.
It's so good. I'm not even going to spoil it. I'll just say that I'm right there with you, Jim. And there is, for folks that want to like search for it, there's a lot of fan support for this, even here in the, like, I want to say that like. Oh gosh, I don't know his name, but there's like all kinds of awesome American artists and stuff. Dig on this One Punch Man. I know Owen Genie of Glory. He digs it.
Yeah,
There's
I
just
thought
some.
Brandon Graham was talking about it at one point or something.
I wouldn't be shocked. I think he did. I think I got a blog post about it at one point in the past. I can't remember the details.
It's just really good.
It is really good. And the most amazing part about it, which worried me from the beginning, is that its premise is so goofy. You have a superhero who, no matter what he comes up against, he defeats with one punch. It never wears its premise out.
Nope. It's amazing. That's part of the skill. You'd think you'd get tired of that. They take it good places. It seems really weird and like, is this how good can this stay? Like the first thing people think when you tell them about it is how can that stay interesting for long?
How can you sustain that concept?
It's good.
I think Savage Dragon fans would dig this a lot.
The monster design alone,
just only for the monster designs.
Yeah.
And the hero designs. They just keep getting thrown at you.
So you say this is like a free webcomic, or?
Well, the webcomic is, of course, in Japanese, which I don't believe has been translated.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think so.
If you were to Google it, you could find it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
But One Punch Man, the manga, is published in Weekly Shonen Jump every other week. And translated and legal digitally.
Yeah, I would say support it legally if you can. If you just feel like trying it, my thing is that I support that guy any way I can as soon as they get those volumes, because they've got like 5 volumes out over there.
Really?
Yeah, and if they come over like here, like they've got my money, read it or not. Like I want it to own. So, yeah, it's super killer good. The art and the story both. You know what? As I see thrown around with it too, is it's decompressed superhero stuff.
Well, there is some decompression to it. There was that whole bit with the asteroid that stretched out a little bit too long, but I think overall it keeps itself moving.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also making fun of some of those conventions, which I think gives it some more subtle meta humor.
It's good. It's really impressive, and considering its bizarre origins as like an MS Paint webcomic that was just getting millions of hits a day, it's another Cinderella story. Like I love to see success, come to someone. Imagine you're this person that has a good story to tell but can't draw so good.
Nope.
And then like one of the best artists like producing like is like, hey, let's team up. And you're like,
Yeah,
what?
that's cool.
It's good stuff.
Really neat.
So yeah, it was been a good year for comics. Really exciting times.
Cool. So
2014 looks like it's going to be another pretty good year.
It's the year of issue 200 on Savage Dragon.
That's true.
Dragon's gonna be good. Invincible is gearing up to be really awesome.
Oh my!
I haven't read the latest issue of Invincible. I'm behind.
I'm not going to spoil
It's
nothing.
amazing. Don't spoil it. It's so amazing.
Holy cow! That's all I'll say.
Huh.
Image has got a. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I thought also Invincible was getting treated like a redheaded stepchild. Whoa! He brings it together.
Yeah.
On the same topic, did either of you guys read the Tech Jacket miniseries?
I haven't yet. I want
it's really good.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Definitely gotta do that. I don't have like an iPad or anything like that. I don't really want to.
Yeah,
read it on my phone.
and it is digital only, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Which
I know he said he's gonna collect it at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. It's like produced to be collected, really.
But I think you can still read Comixology stuff, or actually, isn't Image selling it on their website?
Yes, Image sells all of their comics, their new releases, directly in PDF or CBR format.
Yeah, so I can just get it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to wait for like a slow comic week, and I'll buy them.
Every month has one.
Yeah.
So yeah, comics are cool. But next episode, hopefully, if the stars align,
we'll be talking about Savage Dragon 193.
Bold new direction.
You might even call it a new beginning.
Go for it, Raven.
It's the ultimate jumping on point for new readers and a bold new beginning as Malcolm Dragon takes over the title role from his famous father. Malcolm Dragon's not your typical teenager. He lives in an apartment by himself in downtown Chicago. He's a junior who's just transferred to a new high school, and he's trying his best to fill the shoes of his father, the Savage Dragon, fighting the forces of evil in the Windy City. New dangers, new adventures. Get in on the ground level of a whole new Savage Dragon.
Oh, that's so awesome. I think the funny thing is that you probably read that already before.
Like twice.
I read it in the WB goofy sitcom style, so I thought
Tune in Fridays at 8.
Malcolm Dragon's not your typical teenager.
Oh, that's right. That's how you did it.
He
before.
lives in an apartment by himself in downtown Chicago.
You totally did.
His neighbors just won't stop dropping in.
Wah, wah. Steve Urkel lives next door.
Oh, God. It's good. Yeah. It's going to be good. I'm super excited for this bold new direction.
I am stoked.
Yeah, and I think as of the recording of this, we should probably see it 2 weeks after
February 19th.
Today, so it'll probably come out close to when this is getting put out. So we'll probably have a couple of FINcasts close together to make up for the.
So get your trivia answers in quick.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good thing to bring up. Get them in quick so that we can keep moving. And don't forget to send your responses to SAVAGEFINCAST@gmail.com and send your letters or any other comments you want to make. Maybe.
What are your favorite Savage Dragon moments?
Yeah. What's your favorite moment of 2013? Let us know. We'll read your letter on the next episode.
Sweet.
So I think that wraps it up.
Wraps it up like a Jimmy hat.
Jesus.
Raven.
We don't know what that is.
It's good to have you back.
That's just meaningless slang.
What's a Jimmy hat?
Exactly. I thought that was a apparel for one's noggin.
I thought you were going to say knob.
Well,
all right, we're out.
See ya.
Have a good one.
The Savage FINcast is hosted by the Gutter Trash Podcast Network, which can be found at guttertrash.net. The Savage FINcast is proud to be members of the Comic Addiction family of podcasts and the Comics Podcast Network, which can be found at comicaddiction.net and comicspodcast.com.